scared me. I didn't know y'all was in here waiting on me. Well, that's good, guys. Y'all timed that just right showing up today. Guys, today we're going to get started and we're going to be planting our seedlings. Now, I know y'all been watching along and I got several things started. Some things I started too early just so I could experiment out here in my greenhouse with my little heater and stuff. And I said I was going to wait to March the 1st this year to start all my major stuff. Well, I think today's the 26th or 27th of February. I know it's going to be a little later when y'all see this. But I'm home alone today and I got time, so I'm going to get out here and I'm going to start my major seeds. Now, yes, I take my seed tray inside and I start them on the heat mat. But just about everything I've got started is out here in the greenhouse now, down here in my little cold frame, because it's still getting too cold at night. So let's get over here and I'm going to get everything laid out and we'll get started. First, guys, I got to pull this coat off because I come out here about 3 hours ago turning my little diesel heater on. And that's what y'all hear ticking over here, to get it warmed up in here. I didn't want to be out here at 40 degrees starting those seeds. But it warmed up in here quick. Lay my coat over out of the way. Shouldn't put on these insulated bibs and this sweatshirt. I may have to pull them off before I get done here. But guys, I'm going to get everything laid out here. And then I'll get back with y'all and we'll get started on planting our seeds. But I will go on and tell y'all, I'm starting everything in this good tray. And I went on and I splurged this year. I bought me one good tray, and these trays ain't cheap. I think these are Farm Tech trays. If I remember correctly, I ordered this from Haas Tools. But they sell them on other sites. But this is a heavy duty tray. You ain't gonna break this tray. Yes, it was pricey, but it and the bottom tray ought to last me a many a years. But I went on and bought me a good tray this year to start all my major stuff. And like I said, my major stuff is, I got a lot of stuff started, but my major vegetable garden here. This is a 162 cell tray. It's 9 plugs this way and 18 plugs that way, so 9 times 18, I think it's 162 if I remember correctly. But we're going to be starting out in the first 2 rows. This is how I keep up with it. I drew it out on paper and then actually done this on the computer and then printed a blank sheet out of a 162 cell tray. And then I abbreviate what's going in each row. And down here on the bottom, where my abbreviations are, I write it out just like BZ's for a BIG ZAC tomato. Now I do that so I can keep up with it. Also, to keep me from getting confused on which way this thing's turned, I drilled a little hole right here in the upper right hand corner. The reason I drilled a little hole up there, because I didn't want to put no marks on it. And then the mark come off and I couldn't remember. So it's easy to remember the upper right hand corner, but on my sheet, just as a reminder, you just see me put a dot right here. Which any of my other trays, that's how I've been doing this the last few years to help keep track. The hardest part about doing some of this right here, I will tell you, in some of my trays down there with my zinnias and marigolds and stuff, I noticed the other day, apparently I've dropped some seeds when I was seeding in another cell. You got something, I could tell it ain't the same thing growing in there beside it. So you got to be very careful when you using one tray for multiple things. Some wouldn't plant tomatoes in the same tray. We're going to have tomatoes, my peppers, eggplants, some lettuce, Swiss chard, prism kale, red Russian kale, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussel sprouts, and cabbage. Now a lot of people wouldn't start all that in one tray. But what I'm going to do, this end on here in the house will be sitting on a heat mat, because I don't want a heat mat on my cold crops especially starting them indoors when the temperature is already 68 to 72 degrees all the time in the house. And some wouldn't do it because they say that the tomatoes will start growing up and shading some of the other stuff out. Well, my tomatoes, I know I'm going to be stepping up into a little bigger pot anyway. So I'm going to go on and start them all in this one tray, and I'm going to at least try that this year and see how I like it, because I can pull my tomato plugs out and go on and pot them up and bring them out here to the greenhouse before my peppers, I know, slower growing than some of the cold weather crops. So I'm going to try that and see how I like it this year. I'm hoping, other than my tomatoes, and with me waiting this late, I'm hoping our average frost date's usually March the 15th. And I'm hoping it's going to look like a warm spring, early spring. And I'm hoping by the time these tomatoes get where I need to get them out of here, I can put them in the garden. That's what I'm shooting for. If you watched my videos a few days ago, which I might give y'all a peek after a while, they down here in this little cold frame, because I got some tomatoes right now. I guess they're getting around 6 weeks old. They that daggum tall. I might be able to squeeze a couple of them into the garden and get an early spring. If I don't, they probably just gonna get thrown away. But like I said, I've done that just kind of experimenting and practicing out here in my greenhouse with my heater and stuff. But like I said, I'm going to get my seeds laid out over here now, and then we'll get started. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to be planting my tomatoes first. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look through the packs here. I got all the packs of tomatoes that I'm going to be planting, and we're just going to go through these. And then when I get over there and start planting, I'm going to zoom y'all in so we can watch me plant them, and we ain't no telling what we might chat about. But up first is the hybrid BIG ZAC tomato. Now this here tomato I've never grown before, but it's supposed to be a big growing tomato. You're supposed to be able to get a 2-pound tomato easily, on average 2-pound tomatoes out of a BIG ZAC. Well, me and Travis over at Lazy Dog Farms got a little friendly competition going on. Who can grow the biggest BIG ZAC tomato and who can grow the biggest KELLOGG'S breakfast tomato. And if you ain't seen my video here a while back where I was announcing that, or if you ain't watched one of his videos where he announced it, we also asking y'all to join along with us. And like I said, it'd have to be the BIG ZAC or the KELLOGG'S breakfast, or both. You can join along with us on growing both of them. But me and him got a little, just a friendly competition just between me and him. But he wanted to reach out and extend it out to our viewers. So if y'all would like to grow these tomatoes, and the rules are, whoever grows the biggest BIG ZAC and whoever grows the biggest KELLOGG'S breakfast amongst our viewers, y'all gonna win a big jug of AgroThrive organic fertilizer. And he's taking care of that end. But during the time of growing your tomatoes, if you'll put it on Facebook or Instagram, hashtag BigMater, and I'll put it in the description below, and some of the instructions on what to do, but put hashtag BigMater as you growing along, so that way we can chat back and forth and show us your tomato. And then whenever your tomato's big and you ready to pull it for weigh-in, you got to have a picture of it on a scale weighing it. That way we can see it, and whoever's the winner out of our viewers is going to win a big jug of AgroThrive organic fertilizer. So anyway, up first, like I said, I'll put all them directions in the description below if you ain't watched that video, or maybe you one of my new viewers or whatever. But we'll have the directions in the description below this video. So BIG ZAC, that's the first one I'm going to be planting. And I'm only planting 2 or 3 of each of these. I'm only wanting 2 plants of each out in my garden. Well, some of them here, these cherry tomatoes, ain't going to be but 1 plant, but I'm going to plant 2 or 3 to start. Brandywine Pink. Now, Brandywine Pink is supposed to be a good tomato. Now, last year I had my tomatoes all started, and I know this story's getting old, the ones that's been watching me, but I had everything started so good, and I sprayed some stuff in my yard for stickers. It had 2,4-D, and I kind of had to start out over with my tomatoes. So I want to give Brandywine Pink another try. So it's supposed to be a good heirloom tomato. Cherokee Purple. Now I know that's a good tomato. That's one of my all-time favorite heirloom tomatoes thus far. Then I'm going to be trying the hybrid early dial. Now I had a couple of them last year, and that's the ones I plant on top of my barrel with my containers up high and just let them hang over. Because they don't grow that long to where they won't touch the ground, and they kind of get ripe early. So we're going to do a couple of early dials. This is my favorite tomato last year, which is that little old small tomato that was planted up there by my house called the Honey Delight Hybrid. Any of y'all that was watching along with me last year remember up by the house that plant just kept growing right on up till whenever we got the frost in November. All year long I got tomatoes off of that. And them are some good eating tomatoes, but they just look, they bigger than cherry tomatoes. They about that big around, about big as old-timey silver dollar. These new silver dollars I think ain't much bigger than a quarter, are they? And then we got the Indian Stripe, which is supposed to be pretty much same tomato as Cherokee as I understand, but just maybe a little bit smaller in size. I was going to try them last year, and of course I don't think I ended up with any of them after my disaster. Then our Kellogg's Breakfast. That's supposed to be a big beef steak. Supposed to be able to get a 2-pound tomato out of that pretty easy. We're going to see. Like I said, this will be the one if you want to be in the competition and join along with us, grow with us. That way we can look at your pictures and stuff on Facebook and Instagram and move right along. But I got mine from High Seed, you can see there. And then I got something here I want to try. It's 2 or 3 of them I got last year, but I got these up into the summer. And it was so hot, they really didn't have a good chance, but I planted them anyway and ate a couple off of them. And that's a Brad's Atomic Grape. Now, ain't that something pretty to be a tomato? And I know the picture probably what sold me on that, because I like trying different stuff. But we're going to do that again and see if we can give it a good fair chance this year of not planting it right in the middle of August or July. I can't remember when I planted it. Whenever I planted it, it was hot. And then I got some of my Roma seeds that I saved from 2020. That was some of the best Roma tomatoes for canning and stuff. Had good flavor, but I don't know what variety. I bought them in 2020 from a local corner market. Don't remember what variety they were, but I did save some seeds off of them. Now, the thing is, by me saving seeds off of them, they may have got cross-pollinated, so I may not end up with the exact same tomato that I grew in 2020. But I'm going to plant them, and we're going to see what they turn out to be. Here's another one of them cherry tomatoes called Tropical Sunset. It's one of them I planted right in the heat of July or August, whenever I did last year. So I want to plant it again, give it a fair chance, because some of these guys I just like growing just for garden snacks, I call it. They have different little flavors to them than just eating a tomato. And like I said, most of it's just for outside walking through and grabbing something, washing it off, and eating it. And here was another one called the Lollipop. Now I remember this one here, if I ain't mistaken, was the one that really, even though I planted it in the high heat last year, that one little bush, I got several off of it. And then I got a new tomato from Totally Tomatoes, a Bendita, B-E-N-D-I-D-A hybrid. And I remember reading I got that because it's supposed to do good in the high heat and humidity, which we have here in Louisiana. And I wanted to give it a try, so I just ordered a pack of them seeds, and we're going to try that. And then this year I'm going to have a couple of little tiny Tim plants. And here's another one of them cherries called the blue cream berries. So that's what we've been to get over here and get started planting. Now guys, for my seed starting mix, I use my own seed starting mix that I use out of my composting pile, and I got a video I try to attach above if you want to go back and see how I did that, what I mix up. But during that video, I forgot to mention I didn't have any diatomaceous earth, and that's food grade, at the time I was making my seed starting mix for that video. I went and got some diatomaceous earth and I put that in my soil, my seed starting mix, because I don't sterilize my mix, but I put that in there, and that diatomaceous earth I take care of insects, any kind of eggs that's in there to hatch out. Before you take this into your house and you start getting bugs in your house, that diatomaceous earth, I take care of that, and that's why I don't sterilize my seeds. But I'll attach that video above if you want to go back and watch that. Now I done put my seed starting mix in my tray. I done that when I come out here and turn my heater on, so it'd warm up in here some. I put my seed starting mix in my tray dry, and then I just water it in a couple times and let the water pack it down. To me, I like doing it like that better, because if you moisten your soil up, then you gotta basically pack it down into your plugs. To me, you put it in there dry, then you water it a couple times and it settles down in there and it does its own packing. But guys, all I'm gonna do is take me a little Sharpie and I poke me a little indention down in them, and I shoot for about 1/4 of an inch. Now, it's not precise. Some of them's gonna be a little over 1/4, some might be a little under 1/4 by the time I cover them up with soil on top. Now, God created these seeds to fall off the vine onto the ground. So all seeds in the woods and in the wild ain't gonna get exactly 1/4 of an inch covered like they claim they need. And I'm not that precise of a person about doing things. If it was that hard to do this, wouldn't be many people growing a garden. A lot of people make a lot of stuff about gardening way harder than it has to be. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. But I got me 2 little tags here. That way when I plant my tomato seeds, I know what row I stopped on. Plus I'm gonna cover my seeds before I continue on. That way I won't drop another one down in there, which I can still drop it on top, but I want my tomato seeds covered before I continue on. So I'm gonna have to put the glasses on here. And I'm just gonna drop the seeds and see if we can get the tomatoes in. Also guys, if you're buying up a bunch of seeds and you know they come in these little paper packs, well then the seeds fall out the little cracks and stuff. Well, I bought these little Ziplocs, and they're actually made for coin collectors. You can get them off Amazon. If I remember, I'll try to put a link in the description below. They're very cheap for like 200 or 300, 400 of them. You put all your seeds. I went through one day at the house, sitting in there at the table, and put all my seeds in these Ziplocs. That way I'll quit losing seeds and having to throw away seeds that fell out in the bottom of my box down in there that I store them in. Like I said, I think these little Ziploc bags is made for coin collectors. But I'm gonna just plant 1 seed in each cell. If I didn't already have some tomatoes started, early tomatoes, like I said, I done them early ones playing, but yet I still might get to put some of them in the ground. I don't know. But I'm gonna chance it of just planting 1 seed of each tomato here. Each plug. Normally if I was doing this and I hadn't had any more tomatoes already started, I'd plant 2 seeds in each plug, and then if they both germinated, I would thin them out. Brandy wine. I gotta pay attention here to make sure I put the right ones in the right holes over here, because like I said, I'm keeping up with them on this paper. So if I get off, I ain't gonna know what I got where. Y'all may have missed out on some of that right there, because that camera looked like it may have been turned down a little far. This is a little time consuming with my fumble fingers here. These seeds are so expensive nowadays for these different varieties when you order them. And that's another thing, guys. If you got a local feed and seed store, buy all the seeds that you can get from them. Because your local feed and seed store, for an example, I bought some zipper cream peas yesterday, and I probably bought a pound of them for what these places where you want to order 30 or 50 seeds charge for 30 or 50 seeds. So I buy everything I can buy from my local corner market and my local feed and seed store. But then when I want other varieties and stuff, that's when I'll order stuff. Now, these are Cherokee seeds I saved here, so I am going to put more than one in here on the seeds I saved. For two purposes. I don't know how they're going to germinate, and the fact that I got plenty of them. Next is our Honey Delight Hybrid, Indian Stripe, Kellogg's Breakfast. Here's the one where I need y'all rooting for me. Kellogg's Breakfast and BIG ZAC. What was next? My Roma tomatoes. Guys, just like I said, these are the seeds I saved. If they got cross-pollinated, they may not come out the true Roma tomato they were. But I'm going to plant them and see what I come up with. It don't matter if they come up to true variety or not. I bet they'll be good for canning tomatoes and making juice out of. As long as they come up. Next up, Brad's Atomic Grape. Tropical Sunsets next. Alright guys, I had to go get me some coffee before we moved on, but up next is going to be our peppers. Now, on the peppers, we're going to do our Savannah Hybrid Sweet Peppers. That's the ones I done last year. We're going to do our Hybrid Fuya Jalapeno Pepper. Again, I done that one last year. And what else I did last year? The Heatless Habanero, which all the seeds I got of them is seeds I saved. I done them last year. Now guys, I don't know what I did last year, and I hope I can do it again this year. But these three peppers right here just kept making peppers all year long. So I'm going to try them again because we love them. And then I'm going to do California Wonder bell peppers, because the little bell peppers I had last year I didn't like. That was them little bitty, whatever they was called, confetti ones. They supposed to be different colors, but they was too small to me. So I'm going from too small to California Wonders, which is supposed to be a pretty good sized bell pepper. And then I'm gonna do a couple of cayenne long red slims just for me a little heat. I'm not a big person on heat, but I'm gonna do a couple this year for heat in case we want to make some sauce and add a little heat into them. And then I got a trial pack. No, I ain't planting that crap. I don't know what that even is. I ain't read about it, so I ain't planting no trial pack or something they sent there. So again, I'm finna start planting these right here, my peppers. Let's see, so I'm gonna have one row and just one out of the next. Alright guys, up next is eggplants. So we're gonna be doing 2 black beauties. And I ain't been telling y'all where these come from, but I guess you can see the packages where I got them from, but that don't mean nothing, guys, where I get them from. It's just sometimes I get on different sites and order different things. We're going to have 2 fairy tales, which I've never grown before. And we're going to have 2 white star eggplants, which I've never grown before. Alright, next guys, we're going to do lettuce. We're going to do some butterhead lettuce on one row. Be 9 of them. Some romaine lettuce on one. And some iceberg lettuce. Now, I don't know if I'm going to have enough room to plant all 3 of these as head lettuce. Don't know if I got enough beds or not. If I don't, I'm going to just do 2 of them. Because my other beds, I'm going to do some mixture of leaf lettuce, which I plant direct seed them. Guys, up next is rainbow Swiss chard. We're going to do 1 row of it, 9 plants from a little bed. Then up next, we're going to do 1 row of, that's called Blue Ridge kale, but it's similar to prism kale. So a lot of times I'll probably be calling it prism kale. And we're going to do 1 row of red Russian kale. Guys, next we're going to be doing 1 row of green magic broccoli. Now again, y'all see where I'm getting some of these seeds, but that don't mean nothing. I just get online sometimes if I want to order something and try out different sites. I don't think one's no better than the other one. So I'm not sponsored or advertising for any of these places. Like I said, I would really love if my local feed and seed store carried a lot of these different varieties. If they did, I'd be getting everything from there. I like supporting my hometown people as much as I can, but in gardening I like experimenting and growing different things. And the truth is, this broccoli may not be no better than what my local place sells, but I just want to grow something different than what everyone else around gardening here in the neighborhood has. Just about anybody in my neighborhood that gardening, 90% of them's older people, so they just gonna get what's at the local place. Like I said, I like trying different stuff. Alright guys, the next row we're gonna be doing cauliflower, but I'm gonna do like 5 of them. And this amazing cauliflower, which is what I've been growing in the past, but I'm going to do 4 in that same bed of this candied charm cauliflower. I just want to try it. And I read up on it when I was online. I just look at different stuff, and I said, well, I was going to try it. It's supposed to do good in the down here in the higher heat and humidity areas, so I'm going to try it out. Alright guys, I don't know how close attention y'all been paying, but I done got a little cocky and I wasn't covering each one up before I went to the next one. And I just messed up, because this broccoli right here on the end, it's got a cauliflower seed down in that hole too. But I'm going to just leave it in there, and when it grows up, maybe I can distinguish which one of these before it gets too big and pluck out the right one. I should have done like I was doing and covered each one up as I was going to keep me from doing that. But this ain't the first time I make a mistake like that. Won't be the last neither with it. Up next, guys, we got Brussel sprouts. And this year I'm trying the hybrid Brussel sprouts Hesty, H-E-S-T-R-I-A-F-1. I'm trying it because it's supposed to be fast maturing and does better in the warmer climates. That's one thing when you breed seeds, you need to look at where you live, what your temperatures are, and try to get seeds to suit your climate. Now our temperature goes from cold, having to wait on the last frost, and it gets so hot so quick, so you need something that tolerates heat, humidity, and fast maturing. Now, a lot of this stuff, just like these Brussels sprouts, I may not can grow Brussels sprouts, may never get a Brussels sprout to grow, but I'm gonna keep trying. Now last year when I grew them Brussels sprouts, it got hot too quick, and I think they was called Long Island Improves or something. And I got some Brussels sprouts, but by the time they got where I could eat a few of them, it done got so hot they was opening up. But I did eat a couple of little suppers off of them. But this one here is supposed to be a faster maturing, and we're going to try it out. Alright guys, on our last row here, we finna have cabbage. And this is the Carina cabbage. And this is one of the ones I'm talking about. You need to search out what works good in your climate. Fast maturing. This is like 50, 52 or 55 day maturing. Now it don't make real big heads of cabbage. But now it's just me and my wife here. One little bed. I've had real good luck with this, and it's some real good tasting cabbage, and I really like it. Now like I said, it don't make big humongous heads. They just small, about 6 inches in diameter. I'm thinking 8 inches about, if I remember right, 8 inches about as big as it's supposed to get. But it done so good for me so far. Tastes so good. This is probably what I stick with unless something just comes along and I try. But once I find something like this, I like sticking with it. If I find me some Brussels sprouts and cauliflower and like broccoli, that'll do that. That'll be what I stick with. Alright guys, so now we completed this tray. Now the row there number 8 ain't got nothing in it. And then you got one row right here where I got a couple peppers on the end that ain't got nothing in it. But that's all I'm planting in this tray. Like I said, I'm going to take it in the house. I'm finna water it in. I'm going to take it in the house, and from the eggplants to this end will be sitting on my heat mat, and this end won't be on the heat mat because they're indoors, keeping it 68 to 70 degrees in our house all the time. That don't need to be on the heat mat. So I'm finna just water them in. Then it's gonna settle down just a moment, and we're gonna take them in and put them on the heat mat. guys, I'm gonna normally plant my squash seeds straight out in the garden, and my cucumbers I normally plant straight out in the garden, but this year I am gonna start me up just a 6-pack tray of each, and then I can plant them and then plant some seeds around them. You'll kind of have some earlier ones taken off and then some behind them. But that's all we're gonna do today. Like I said, when it comes to your seeds, I'm not sponsored by no one. Anywhere I get my seeds, you see them packets. I'm not trying to advertise for any of them. You get your seeds wherever you love getting your seeds from. But I will tell you, like I said, if you love gardening, I'm going to grow what we need to eat, that we like to eat. But I'm going to experiment with other things and other varieties, just like that cabbage I'm sticking with. The kale, the Swiss chard, does good here. The cauliflower I'm still, and the broccoli, but I ain't got no broccoli to really do nothing last fall. Got some little bitty heads, but I'm experimenting that. But you want to read on your seeds. Tomatoes, I'm like doing different varieties of tomatoes just for the fun of it. But if I was depending on them tomatoes for my food, I'm going to choose a tomato that's a hybrid tomato, heat tolerant, the most disease tolerant, that'll do good where I live. And that's something you need to look at. Now if you want to do like me, just you know you ain't gonna need but so many. I'm gonna plant way more than I'm gonna need with all these tomatoes. But if I was gonna plant one variety, I would find that one variety that done good in my area, and that's what I would stick with. But that ain't the fun of gardening to me. The fun of gardening is trying different things. So it's all about what you want to do. Don't let nobody deter you from gardening or starting your own seeds. It's not rocket science. Yes, heat mats help, makes them germinate faster, but you don't need heat mats. If you'll go back some of my other videos, some of these flowers, zinnias and stuff, I started right out here, cool weather, no heat mat. It just takes them longer to germinate, but they germinated. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this little video. Thanks for watching. If you haven't never subscribed, please subscribe. Share my videos. That's the best way you can help me grow my channel, is by sharing my videos. That helps me out the most. Hope y'all have a great day. God bless. See y'all next time.